Welcome back to Ultimate Migration. Today's topic, I have been getting messages about this for months. Australian student visa refusals have reached a level that nobody in the migration industry has seen in 2 decades. Families are spending tens of thousands of dollars. Students are deferring life plans, and a significant number of them are hitting a wall they didn't see coming. So, in this video, we are going deep: the data, the political context, what the department is actually looking for, how to build an application that holds up, and what your options are if things have already gone wrong. Grab a coffee, let's get into it. Let's start with the raw numbers. As of early 2026, approximately 1 in 3 offshore student visa applications are being refused. That refusal rate is the highest it has been in at least 20 years. This is not a temporary blip. This is not a processing backlog. This is a deliberate shift in how the system is operating. And when you look at where these refusals are concentrated, a very clear pattern emerges. Applicants from Nepal are facing rejection rates of roughly 65%. Nearly 2 out of every 3 Nepalese students who apply are being turned away. Bangladesh, around 51%. India, approximately 40%. And then contrast that with China, where the approval rate is sitting at around 97%. So we are not talking about a uniform crackdown. This is a geographically concentrated wave of refusals hitting South Asian applicants particularly hard. If you are from Nepal, Bangladesh, or India, the system right now is working against you in a way it is not working against other applicants. That context matters enormously when you are thinking about how to approach this. Now let's talk honestly about why this is happening, because there are two separate forces at play here, and most people only understand one of them. The first is political. After COVID, Australia opened the migration tap very wide. Businesses couldn't find staff, industries were struggling, and the government approved visa applications at an extraordinary pace. Fast forward to now, the political mood has completely reversed. Housing affordability is the number one issue on voters' minds, and politicians on both sides have found a convenient group to blame: international students. Now, here is what you need to understand about that argument. It is politically useful precisely because international students cannot vote. There is no electoral consequence to making life harder for them. So when the government signals to Home Affairs that it wants tighter settings on student visas, that instruction gets implemented and the refusal rate climbs. The second force is less political, it is operational. Certain countries have seen genuine problems with fraudulent documentation being submitted, fabricated bank statements, forged employer letters, fake academic records. The volume of fraudulent material that entered the system created a serious problem for case officers. And the department's response has been to apply much greater skepticism to applications from those same countries, even when the documents being submitted are completely legitimate. This is the part that is genuinely unfair. Honest students with real qualifications, real financial backing, and genuine intentions are being caught in a net designed to catch fraudsters. The system is not distinguishing well between the two, and real people are suffering real consequences as a result. Let's talk about what you can actually control, because understanding the problem is only useful if it leads to action. The centerpiece of a strong student visa application in this environment is the genuine student statement. This is not a formality, this is not a cover letter, this is the document where a case officer decides whether they believe your story. And in a climate of heightened skepticism, that decision matters more than ever. So let me walk you through what a strong statement covers. There are 4 things it must address. Number 1, your motivation for choosing Australia specifically. There are many countries where you could study: the UK, Canada, Germany, New Zealand. A case officer wants to understand why Australia makes sense for you, not in a generic way, in a way that connects to your background, your goals, and the opportunities that exist here and not elsewhere. Number 2, your reasons for choosing your specific institution and program. It has a good reputation is not an answer. That applies to hundreds of institutions across a dozen countries. What is it about this particular program that advances your career in a way alternatives cannot? Specialist faculty, industry partnerships, a specific curriculum? Make it specific, make it credible. Number 3, your ties to your home country. This is arguably the most scrutinized part of the entire assessment. The department is asking one question: are you a genuine temporary entrant? Or is this visa a mechanism to establish long term residence? The stronger your ties to home, the more convincing your case becomes. Family obligations, property ownership, a family business, community ties, document all of it. Number 4, the financial logic of your decision. A 2-year postgraduate degree in Australia can easily represent an investment of $100,000 or more. A case officer will ask, is that rational? Can you earn that back in your home country? Does the qualification justify the cost? You need to make that case clearly and back it up with evidence. A statement that addresses all of this properly is not a short document. 10 to 15 pages is entirely appropriate. What matters is not the length, it's the coherence. Every element of the statement should connect to the others and to the supporting documents you are providing. It should read like a genuine personal narrative, not a checklist. And it absolutely should not read like it was generated by an AI tool. Case officers are experienced readers. They know exactly what that looks like. The statement doesn't stand alone, it needs supporting documentation. Bank statements are important, but how they look matters just as much as what they show. Genuine financial capacity looks like sustained balances over time, consistent transaction history, funds that are clearly yours. A large deposit appearing shortly before lodgement is one of the most common red flags case officers look for. If your family is supporting you financially, document that relationship properly. Evidence of home country ties should be concrete. Property ownership documents, family business registration records, evidence of dependence, community or religious organization memberships, anything that creates a verifiable anchor to your life back home. Your academic and professional history should tell a consistent story. The degree you are pursuing in Australia should feel like a logical continuation of where you've been heading, not a sudden unexplained change of direction. If there is a gap or a change of field, explain it clearly and credibly. And if you have any post study pathway documented, a conditional offer from an employer, a family business expecting you to return, a professional registration pathway in your home country, include that evidence. It directly addresses the question of whether your study plan makes sense. Let me be direct about the things that will hurt your application. Mistake 1: writing your personal statement with an AI tool. I understand the temptation, it's faster, but polished is the problem. Genuine statements have texture, specific memories, specific reasoning. AI generated content is smooth in a way that human experience isn't, and experienced case officers notice immediately. Mistake 2: choosing an institution primarily on the basis of cost. There are legitimate low cost providers in Australia, but an application built around a cheap private college with no strong explanation for why it serves your goals will attract additional scrutiny. If the institution appears to primarily exist to facilitate visa pathways, that concern will land on your application too. Mistake 3: assuming the visitor visa workaround still works. It doesn't. That pathway has been closed. The vast majority of student visa applications now need to be lodged from outside Australia, which means you are dealing with the offshore refusal rate head on. Mistake 4: submitting any document that is not completely genuine. The department has significantly invested in document verification. A fraudulent document that enters the system today may not be caught immediately, but it creates a permanent vulnerability in your migration history, one that can surface years later, even after you have achieved permanent residency or citizenship. The consequences of that are catastrophic and irreversible. If you are watching this after already receiving a refusal, here is what you need to know. The pathway back is harder than most people expect. Reapplying after a refusal requires a materially stronger application, not just the same application submitted again. You need to understand specifically why the refusal happened and address those reasons directly. There is also a practical obstacle that catches people off guard. Your university is not automatically obligated to reissue your confirmation of enrollment after a refusal. Without that document, you cannot lodge a new application. Some institutions will work with students in this situation, others will not. So before you do anything else, that conversation with your institution needs to happen. If you are in this situation, get qualified migration advice before you take any further steps. The decisions you make in the weeks following a refusal can either open or permanently close the door. Here is where things stand. Australia has not closed its doors to international students. The pathway still exists, but the bar is genuinely higher than it has been in a generation. The scrutiny is real, and an application that might have sailed through 3 years ago may not make it through today. What this environment rewards is preparation, honesty, and specificity. A genuine student with a well constructed application absolutely can and does get approved. The students who are struggling are the ones whose applications leave questions unanswered. And in a climate of heightened skepticism, unanswered questions become refusals. Invest properly in this process. Build an application you can stand behind completely. And if you are unsure about any part of it, get proper advice before you lodge, not after. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what you're dealing with, share it with someone who needs it. Drop your questions in the comments. We will do our best to address them. All the contact details are in the description below. We will see you in the next one.